What is going on, Alpha Hunters? Hope everybody's having a very marvelous, not marvelous, wonderful Hump Day Wednesday. There we go. I knew it was Hump Day. I just forgot the word that goes before Hump Day. Wonderful. Hopefully you are having a great, wonderful day though. So yeah, I mean we're seeing a little bit of bullishness. Makes sense. Buy the dip, alive and well. Kind of mentioned this yesterday on the live stream. Watch out for the kind of pump in the last hour of the day. We had a nice little rollover, even going into that. But last 30 minutes or so, pump there kind of took out that entire rollover that we had. Yesterday afternoon. So we definitely ended off the session lows yesterday. Nice gap up today. Very nice. We did gap up roughly 2/3%. Pulled back, traded higher up to the middle part of the day. What's really kind of interesting is as we were kind of getting to this little flat top spot here, I was like, man, that might be a pretty good spot to go bearish. Didn't do it, but I was kind of thinking that. And probably wouldn't have been too bad because we kind of double topped there. And we got one top, rolled down, bounced, came up to that same level, topped again. And then about 30 minutes ago, nice little drop here. I don't know what got said. We'll take a look around, see what we can find. Yeah, we got a nice little drop here over the past 30 minutes. So we'll see if that continues as we go into close today. Qs, very much same kind of deal as far as the daily pattern. As the SPY kind of going there. But we did gap up about 1% there on the Qs. Nice. Yeah, people buying up tech, IWM, nice. Gap up here, gapped up about 1.1%. You can see it's kind of just bouncing around here, just choppy throughout the day. Yeah, there you go. DIA, nice gap up, pulled back, pushed higher, got up close to the daily highs. Did actually briefly take them there as we were going to the middle part of the day, and then we've been rolling over ever since, pulling back. RSP looks like it made a new all-time high. We'll have to check that because I don't really think the line is exactly on the right penny, but it looks like we did get the all-time high here on the RSP. So let's talk about it a little bit. Celebration time, I guess. Yeah, we do have a little bit of a gap up here, 0.6% here on the RSP, kind of chopped sideways, and then we got roughly about an hour, 15 minutes into the trading day here on the RSP, and then we grinded higher for about 2 hours. It looks like about 2 hours. That's about where we hit the all-time high, sometime right in that area. And then kind of been rolling back down ever since. You can see we got down to the daily lows. I actually made a new daily low about 10, 15 minutes ago. So that's kind of an interesting one. Looks like they've been hit a little bit harder than some of the others. Let me see. So we did get to 164.97. Let's scroll back in time. Boop, 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 boop. Back in time. 164.90. So we took it about 9 pennies. I'm actually going to settings. I'm going to change this to 90. Boom. There you go. So that was the previous all-time high right there. Back on January 5th. So RSP equal weight S&P 500 has made a new all-time high today by 7 pennies. Intraday trading high. So there you go. Anyways, RSP looking pretty good. Still, yeah, I mean, it looks fine. It looks pretty good. Still just kind of hanging out. If it just kind of continues to consolidate here at this level sideways, I imagine it just eventually will get pushed through as the moving averages kind of come up and push it through. The DIA, what's really kind of interesting, the DIA has been actually leading and was making all-time highs before some of the others here, which typically the DIA doesn't do that. But going back to the middle of December, it had been doing pretty good. But you see here, past couple of weeks, the DIA, especially compared to the RSP is kind of starting to, look pretty good. The DIA, not so much not so much. And that might be Apple, might be UNH. I don't know. Microsoft has stopped being bullish, and those are probably the three biggest weightings in the DIA. I'm not totally sure on that. I know UNH and Microsoft are up there. I'm not sure about AAPL. Anyways, IWM has also been looking pretty good here. Although it had a pretty good gap up today and just kind of faded down, but it's still up 0.5%, so it's still looking pretty good. Qs. Yeah, Qs got hit pretty good yesterday. A lot of profit taking in tech. And you know what? It kind of made sense. You're going to get into some pretty big catalysts, the second half of this week. I imagine a lot of people yesterday were just like, yeah, you know what? Let's lock in some profits. But people came back in and bought the dip, bounced off the 20 EMA. All right. Not too much to kind of talk about there. And it kind of got sneaky. It got real sneaky. Let me go to an hourly here on the SPY. So you can see, kind of talked about, having, alert level just below that low of last week. And you can see, like, we got really close hitting into those lows here on the SPY. But on the Qs, we actually did. We actually took those lows very quick. And then that's when we rallied yesterday. And so that's why, you just kind of set alerts, under those, wherever you want. You don't have to set triggers, just set alerts. And if, check in on them, see what happens. And you notice we're starting to bounce and rally off of that alert level. Maybe you give it a little bit of time before you put in an order to close out or something like that. But that's why alerts are a little bit better than just complete stop losses, in my opinion. All right, so Q's a SPY, just kind of doing their thing. Nice little gap ups today. Anyways, not really much to kind of say. The one thing I would say is now, since we've very clearly gotten the bounce here on both the Q's and the SPY from last single pullback day, and we don't take out the high that we put in on Monday, I would say if we do roll back down, we do trigger this alert, I would go ahead and put in an order to, protective order, maybe, puts or lock in profits, that kind of thing. Because obviously we very clearly got the bounce here. And so if we now start to roll back over, we just started it would be lower highs coming in, breaking trend, that kind of thing. So if we do break this level now, I would be a little bit more protective of gains. Maybe even take just bearish positions, maybe offset bullish positions or lock in bullish profits, that kind of stuff. So that's the way I would look at this right now, because we clearly got the bounce between yesterday afternoon and today. All right, let's take a look at that VIX. VIX moving a little bit higher, which is really interesting because, well, the market's actually doing pretty well. The market's up over 0.5%, but you can see the VIX still up pretty good. Okay, let me just take a look intraday. Yeah, it's mostly been a recent kind of thing. Okay, so we'll take a look at figuring out some new stuff. Dollar dropping off. There you go. So we finally got the real dollar drop off. It had been trying to hold, but it just fell through. So dollar, let's talk about this a little bit here. Well, you're going to have a pretty good spot here to this low. So somewhere around 102.5 to 103 could be a pretty good spot to see some dip buyers maybe come back in. And if that does happen, you can maybe see this kind of inverted head and shoulders maybe form. If that kind of does happen here, that'd be interesting. So we'll just have to, if we do get a bounce here in that area, it would kind of line up to potentially be an inverse head and shoulders. Anyways, just something to keep in your back pocket for a game plan later on down the line. But other than that, I wouldn't want to be bearish here just because you are so close to a support area. And if we get through there, we're probably going to come back down lower, but then you're going to look for the bounce later. You're going to be bearish on the dollar. probably just taking that lower. So as we approach those times, we will talk about it more. I'm gonna go. So here's the GLD. You can see the GLD up again, 0.6%. I mean, gold. I mean, dollars getting smashed, so it makes sense. What's very interesting is on the gold futures side, we took out the all-time highs on futures. So there you go. Gold futures, new all-time highs today. Look at the volume that's been coming in. This thing might be screaming higher here over the next few weeks to a couple months. And then maybe sometime later in the year we see some bullback opportunities. But this looks really good. This looks really good. 10-year yield dropping off, kind of like the DXY, the dollar. Yeah. Got nothing right now on 10-year yield, honestly. I mean, it's coming down. It hasn't really broken uptrends, honestly, because I mean, you're obviously going to have people looking at this or this kind of line, support line, and maybe here over the next couple of days we kind of come down and kind of interact where this cross section is around the 4% level here on the 10-year yields, and if we start to rise rapidly again, possibly. But for now, I mean, bullish on bonds seems like the way to go because yields just there's not a clear spot. I mean, we have a little bit of a hump here. It's kind of where it's at now. How's it look intraday? I mean, it's trying to base there, but maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. I don't know. It's kind of a tough one. 10-2 inversion. Not really doing a whole lot. Still just kind of pulling back. HYG still not doing a whole lot of breaking out. What is actually looking pretty good here on this HYG is it seems like we kind of are starting to base here a little bit. So if we start to poke up here over this mid 77 level, I mean, you're probably just looking to be bullish on that, which means yields are breaking down again some more. So, okay, LQD looking pretty good here. The issue with LQD from that breakdown that we had back in early February, we were kind of retesting now this baseline that we did put in January. We do have a little bit of an upper wick today. So maybe yields, maybe that yield intraday kind of base that we're looking at on the 10-year, maybe it's looking pretty good. Maybe we do base, maybe LQD kind of hitting a resistance level. Man, it is a tough one. Ooh, are we getting really close to this downtrend line? I'm gonna leave this line here. So we're getting kind of close. Depends on how you put that line. I mean, you can, do you want to put it at the tops of the candles, I guess, or the tops of the bodies, however you want to kind of do it. So I like to put it at the tops of the candles because that was the price that was actually traded. To me, that's a little bit more significant. So we're getting kind of close to that downtrending line, though. We have been making lower highs, lower lows on the TLT. So maybe we will see yields, rally, and bonds drop off on price here over the next sometime soon. We'll see. It's kind of a tough one. Yeah, it's kind of a tough one. I mean, we're going to get a major catalyst this week on Friday with non-farm payrolls and the unemployment rate. So those two will really probably determine a lot of yields here over the next week. And I don't think there shouldn't be. Oh, we get CPI next week. So we get CPI next week. Man, it's hard to believe that CPI is already back around again. Jeez. CPI and PPI. So, yeah, okay. I mean, yeah, not much else to say about that. We just get the data when we get the data. If unemployment comes in really bad, though, like we start to see unemployment really climb, that's the big issue. I don't think it's going to be inflation. All right, sector performance. Let's take a look through. We got the gap right here. XLK Tech doing pretty good. We know that Tech got hit very hard yesterday. We are still seeing the stock market kind of roll over here recently. So tech is outperforming, utilities outperforming, healthcare, staples, materials, industrials, kind of all in line there with SP 500. It's kind of they're all kind of jumbled there together. Energy's underperforming, real estate, financials, communications, discretionary is the big underperformer on the day. You can actually see utilities have actually got a very strong pop this morning. There in the first roughly 30 minutes, and then that second 30 minutes definitely got hit back down, came back down. So, but discretionaries, I mean, Tesla might be really breaking down because that's about the only thing that, or maybe Amazon finally broke its trend higher. So we'll take a look at that. Let's take a look intraday and see how things are going. Healthcare actually looking pretty good. So healthcare didn't get as much of a gap up, but the intraday buying here on healthcare is looking really, really good, especially the first half of the day, and it hasn't really been getting hit as much over the past hour or so. So healthcare looking pretty good, staples looking okay, industrials doing all right, utilities doing all right, health. I mean, you can see like a lot of these line downs, a lot of these are the risk on. Like tech's really gotten hit here over the past 15 minutes, 10 minutes or so. Materials, real estate,